Hello and welcome back to the Money Mojo mini program. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's video. I hope you learned a little bit more about yourself and your sun gates. If you haven't watched the first video in this series yet, please pause this video, head to the video description, and there you'll see the link for the day one video. Please go watch that first because what we're doing today builds on what we covered in yesterday's video. Yesterday we learned a little bit about the role that gates play in human design. We learned how your sun gates contain your most profitable skills. We learned how to identify your sun gates, what the gifts of your sun gates are, and then I asked you to reflect on how you already use the gifts of your sun gates in your day-to-day life. Yeah, we covered a lot. What we covered yesterday lays a really strong foundation for what we're going to cover today, which is connecting the dots between your gifts of your sun gates and how you use them to make money. And then of course we'll be tying this all together tomorrow when we go into your unique code for making money. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments of this video how you felt as you learned about the gifts of your sun gates. In yesterday's video, I asked you to look at how you already use the gifts of your sun gates in your day-to-day life and how you feel when you use them. It's possible that maybe you didn't resonate very much with the summary I gave you of your sun gates, or maybe you couldn't think of many or any ways that you use those gifts in your day-to-day life. Or maybe you can see ways that you use them, but maybe it doesn't feel good for you to use them. If any of that's the case for you, I'd encourage you to pause this video and just take a moment to think about any of the ways that those sun gate gifts might be manifesting differently for you. Maybe they're manifesting in a more simple or subtle way. You are also more than welcome and honestly encouraged to reword the summaries I gave you of your sun gates so that they resonate with you a bit more. Or you may want to spend a little bit of time looking at how you might be ignoring the gifts of your sun gates or pushing them down in some way. As I say all the time, I sound like a broken record, take what works for you, leave what doesn't. The point of those journaling prompts that I gave you yesterday was to help you bring more awareness and understanding to these gifts that you naturally possess. Because the truth is that often our most profitable and powerful gifts are the ones that come easily to us. But we're taught by society to ignore these gifts that come easily to us, or at least to devalue them, to not really see their worth or view them as something that can be monetized. Because when you think about it, we're often taught that you have to work hard to make money, that you have to struggle, that you have to sacrifice. So we'll often dismiss the things that come easily to us, like the gifts of our sun gates, because we don't see them as valuable, because we didn't struggle or strive or sacrifice to have to obtain them. We were just born with them. So it's very possible that you are already using the gifts of your sun gates in some way in your day-to-day life, and maybe even in your money-making activities, but you probably aren't fully leveraging it to the extent that you could be to call more money in with more ease. Or you might not even be using them at all because you've completely dismissed them as useless or not having much value. I'm going to say something here that is so simple, but so important that you understand. Your most valuable assets are the things that come easily to you. And the things that come easily to you do not come easily to everyone else. It's so easy to forget this because you live your whole life in your own head as your own self with your own gifts and perceptions and ways of looking at the world. And so it's easy to start to assume as you live your life, oh, the things that come easily to me, of course, don't they just come easily to everyone else? And so therefore they're not really powerful or valuable skills. And then you start to think, why would anyone pay me for something that's so easy that everyone can do? But that's really the key thing to understand moving forward in this program, and also just when you're looking at your human design and your unique gifts with the way you make money, what comes easily to you does not come easily to everyone else. In fact, the reason that certain things come easily to you are because those are the things that you're meant to share in this lifetime. Those are the gifts that you're here to share with the world. They come easily to you so that you will share them. The skills and gifts that you have are unique and valuable, and that makes you unique and valuable. This is why the gates are my favorite part in the human design chart and why I love getting to dive into them with my clients and with the people in my programs, because to me, they are the most empowering part of human design. They put words to these intangible, often immeasurable parts of ourselves. So if you don't take away anything else from this mini program, though I think you will if you stick with it, I do hope that you take away a greater understanding of what makes you unique and valuable and a greater appreciation for what comes easily to you, for your unique gifts. Now that you've got a general understanding of the gifts of your sun gate and hopefully a new appreciation for these gifts, let's talk more about how they actually can be leveraged to make more money. As we covered in yesterday's video, the gifts of your sun gates are some of your most powerful and prominent gifts. They're the way you're designed to most powerfully and consistently express yourself and shine your light and share yourself with the world. But how do you use them to make money? Here's how. Incorporate the gifts of your sun gates in all of your money-making activities. I know that sounds simple, and in theory, yes it is, but let's explore this a little bit more. Because your sun gates are some of the most prominent gates in your chart, you're meant to use them in pretty much every area of your life. Other gates in your chart, like your earth gates, moon gates, etc., all play more niched or specific roles in your life. And as a result, the way you use them with money is more specific, like you'll use some to feel motivated around money, you'll use others to create financial stability. And this is all a huge part of what we'll be diving into in the Full Abundance Codes programs. But your sun gates are your zone of genius with money. When you bring the gifts of your sun gates to everything you do in big and small ways, you're bringing the essence of you, your biggest gifts, to everything that you do. In doing so, you're putting your unique stamp on your work, setting yourself apart from others in your field by staying in your zone of genius. So when you intentionally bring your sun gates into all of your money-making activities, money begins to flow in a way that feels effortless, good, easy for you. And when I say money-making activities, I mean the different tasks you do in your job, the role you play at work, the way you engage with other people in your work, the way you run your business, what you do in your business, your offers, your strategy, your marketing, or even if your partner is the person who's making money in your relationship, the way you support them, the way you bring your gifts to that. Now, this is important for you to understand. The gifts of your sun gates don't have to be directly monetized. Just because your sun gates are some of your most profitable gifts, that doesn't mean that you have to build a business or pursue a career that puts these gifts at the forefront of what you do. You can, of course, directly monetize these gifts, but they're just as effective at calling in money if you find ways, even small ways, to incorporate them into the work that you already do. For example, let's say one of your sun gates is gate 19, meaning you're naturally very skilled at sensing what other people need. You could directly monetize this gift by becoming a caretaker or a healthcare provider of some sort and using that role to directly sense what people need to help them get better or help them thrive. But if you're a software developer and love what you do, you could more indirectly monetize this gift by getting a sense of what people need from their software and developing software that meets people's needs. Or you could use this gift even more indirectly in that role by sensing what your team or coworkers need and providing that, making you an invaluable asset to your company and a natural choice for a raise or promotion. So you can see there are many different ways that any one gift can be leveraged to make more money. So if you're looking at the gifts of your sun gates and thinking, oh my gosh, I would have to create an entirely new business or change industries in order to monetize these gifts, or I don't see any way that these gifts can be monetized, just keep in mind that all you have to do is find a way to bring your sun gates into your current work in a way that feels good to you. Because you're often not as far from the money that you desire as you think you are. Usually you're just missing that little something extra. You're missing your money mojo. So bringing your sun gate gifts into your work or business to support what you already do will likely create massive changes for you. We'll talk more tomorrow about how your sun gates come together to create your unique code for making money in your human design chart. But for now, I want to give you an example of how this all works. I mentioned in yesterday's video that I ended up using my unique code for making money to address an issue that my business was having partway through last year when all of a sudden we saw a 40% dip in income that was completely unexpected. At first when this happened, I had no idea why it was happening. I did not understand what was going on. None of my offers had changed, none of my strategies had changed. There wasn't any discernible change in performance on any of my social media accounts or in any of my business's ad campaigns. I panicked a little bit and started to try to problem solve using logic and hard work and went into hustle mode. And things recovered a little bit, but not fully. After almost 2 months of this, I was so annoyed and so frustrated and felt so stuck and completely at a loss for why my income had dipped, why I couldn't get back on track. I had no idea what to change. But then I finally did what I would do for any client who came to me with this sort of an issue, and I sat down and looked at my human design chart. And when I did that, it didn't take me long before I was looking at my sun gates and seeing where things had gone wrong. Now, about a month or so prior to this unexpected dip in income, I had hired on some new team members, and I'd hired them on in order to take some things off of my plate as my business was continuing to grow. And one of the big things I handed off to them was handling all of the written content in my business. And what I mean by this was I had given them access to a whole backlog of my old emails in my business, my sales pages, my social media posts, and had asked them to take all of my old content and repurpose it into more new, updated content that we could use on social media and in my email marketing. Now, the important thing to understand here is that my conscious sun gate in my human design chart is gate 26. And gate 26 is what I call the gate of persuasive phraseology. Basically, I have a knack for just intuitively knowing how to phrase things so that it will land with people the way I want it to. For me, the way that this gate has always come through the most powerfully has been through writing. Even before I had the business that I have now, I was a writer. I wrote fiction. I was traditionally and self-published. It was always a passion of mine. And some of the greatest successes that I've had in my business today have had some component of writing in them. So by outsourcing my writing to my team, I had stripped my business of one of my most profitable and powerful gifts, my way with words. Because even though my team was taking my old content, my old words, and using those, they weren't doing it the way I would do it. And the reason that this happened, even though I had all of this knowledge of my human design, was because I had gotten out of the practice of really valuing my gifts and valuing the things that came easily to me and understanding how powerfully I could leverage these things and what a critical role they played in my business. Of course, after realizing this, I resumed all of the writing in my business. I gave my team other things to do so that I could have more time to stay in this zone of genius and write. But the way I went about it wasn't the way I'd gone about it prior to that. Instead, I looked at my full code for making money in my chart, not just this one piece of it. And when I applied that, I saw phenomenal things happen. I not only, within a month's time of applying this, saw my income jump back up to where it happened. It started to rise consistently from there. And it all became easier and so much more fun for me. It was such a simple yet crucial adjustment for me, for my business, for my finances, and also honestly for my confidence as an entrepreneur and just as someone who loves what they do. The point of all this is that it's dangerously easy for us to take our unique gifts for granted. And when we do that, we miss out on opportunities to step into our next level of abundance, or worse, we lose money like I did. Few people will have the exact same sun gates as you do, and even fewer people will have the same hexagram lines on them. Those are those numbers that come to the right of the decimal points on your gates, and those again dictate more specifically how those gifts are expressed. And even fewer people in the world will have similar gates to you in other parts of your chart that go into supporting the gifts of your sun gate. Again, hexagram lines, other gates in your chart, this is all stuff that we're covering in depth inside of the Full Abundance Codes program. But for the sake of this mini program, the main message here is that we are all so different. Everyone has a unique money mojo, a unique way of calling money in. And therefore, we're meant to be using our different skills to make money in different ways. If any traditional business expert had looked at my business and tried to figure out what the cause of the drop in income was, they might not have identified that it was the issue of me handing over the writing to my team. In fact, outsourcing tasks like that take up a good chunk of time are what a lot of us are told to do as entrepreneurs. But that's not what I needed to do, because a huge part of my abundance code for making money is writing. And it's also just something that I love to do. But that's not the case for everyone. For some people, they will benefit from outsourcing any writing in their business or any marketing content in their business to other people so that they can do something else that honors their unique sun gates, their unique gifts, their unique abundance code for making money. Now, I'd love for you to start connecting the dots between your sun gates and money. Take a few minutes to journal or reflect in some way on the following prompts. The first prompt is to make a list of all your money-making activities, big and small. This means looking at the overall role of your job, what you do day to day in your job, your different tasks, maybe what your business is centered around, what you offer, your strategies, your marketing in your business, or how you support your partner as they bring in money if they're the sole breadwinner in the relationship. The second prompt is to look at this list you've just made and evaluate which of these activities you're already using the gifts of your sun gates in big and small ways. You may be using just one of your sun gates in some activities, or both of them, or none of them at all. The idea here is just to get some awareness of where you maybe aren't leveraging your sun gates to make money. These are what I call our money-making blind spots. And then the third prompt is to consider if you see any obvious or easy ways you could apply the gifts of your sun gates to more of your money-making activities, or more powerfully than you already have been. This is just a place to brainstorm some ideas. So feel free to share any insights you have in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Tomorrow we're going to be meeting live to bring together all the pieces that we've covered so far in this program, answer your questions, and of course, uncover your unique code for making money. The link to join me live is in the description below this video. If you can't make it live, no worries. The replay of this training is again going to be available for you at that link in the video description. I am so excited to hear what you uncovered today, and I'm just beyond excited to get to connect tomorrow live, and I hope to see you there.